obviously you make some very compelling arguments about the human flourishing framework. Do you mind explaining a little bit about that as a sort of counter narrative to that religion?
Sure. I mean, I think the way I think of it is when you're thinking of the world as a whole, there's kind of two questions. So one is what is the basic nature of it? And particularly what's the relationship between nature and humans? And then so that's the first question. And I think the dominant view is what I call the delicate nurturer assumption. And this is something when Jordan Peterson and I spoke, we talked about this in some depth, and since have spoken about it more. And he's spoken about it in subsequent discussions, and we'll probably discuss it more in the future. So this is a really important idea, because it's the idea that nature exists in a delicate nurturing balance that has three core attributes. So it's stable, it doesn't change too much, it's sufficient, it gives us enough resources as long as we're not too greedy, and then it's safe, it doesn't endanger us too much. And then the view of humans is we are what I call parasite polluters. So we just take from the earth and we kind of dirty and ruin the earth. And this is all just totally false. If you look at the nature of earth, like earth is not a delicate nurturer. Human life has been really bad for most of history because the earth is not naturally very hospitable, particularly for a typical person. It's what I call wild potential. So it's dynamic, deficient, so not enough resources at all, and dangerous. And then human beings, our main function in terms of our impact is actually positive. So we are producer improvers. And here's where I don't think the idea of stewardship, I don't use the term really because I don't think it's strong enough in terms of, I think we need to have an improvement attitude. So improvement doesn't mean every single thing needs to be improved, because there's certain things that are amazing and beautiful and that kind of thing. But like in general, we need to view it as like this is like a garden or something that we really need to make better, because it's not nearly good enough on its own. And I still view it that way. People think, oh, we've impacted the earth too much. Well, in many ways, we've impacted it not enough, because the vast majority of people are poor. And when you're impacting it, you don't impact it to impact it. You impact it to what I call advance human flourishing. And that relates to the second idea, which is what should be our goal when we're thinking about the earth. And the traditional way of thinking about it is our goal should be to eliminate our impact as much as possible. Like the best earth in this quote environmentalist view is the earth that would exist if we had not existed. And that's, I think, is a totally perverse view. And I think instead we should have the view of, no, our goal should be to advance human flourishing on earth, which means we want the earth to be a place that's more and more hospitable to people flourishing, which means living to their highest potential, including long lives, healthy lives, opportunity-filled lives, fulfilling lives. And that includes really having, beautiful planet that you can enjoy, and as much as possible, clean air and clean water. So it's not, again, we don't impact it to impact it. We impact it to improve it for us. But the typical view that it's this delicate nurture that our impact ruins and that our goal should be to impact it as little as possible, that's a deeply anti-human view in terms of its view of human nature, and its goal is anti-human. To be against human impact is to be against human life.
Yeah, going back to kind of the framing of it as almost Genesis versus some kind of, I know James Lindsay's conceived of it as Gnostic, as to where the world was originally created by a benevolent deity, and then a sub-deity interceded with the creation of man, has put us in these fleshy prisons and distanced us from ourselves, and that's why the world is fallen. The way that you were describing it is that nature is wilderness, and it's a kind of untamed chaos we've inherited, and so our heroic mission is to go out there and order it for human flourishing, and also preserve and conserve the beautiful aspects of nature that we subjectively enjoy. Because it seems silly to me, specifically, to talk outside of a human perspective, because that's all we have. And that's, I think, the undercurrent of a lot of the nihilism and misanthropism that comes from the elite class today, is they're talking as if they want to totally extricate humans from the planet. And you sound like a conspiracy theorist when you say that, but then when Jane Goodall gets up on stage at the World Economic Forum and says we need to go back to the population of 500 years ago, the question is always, oh, okay, who are you looking to lose exactly? How do you wish to do that? It's slightly concerning.
To watch the full video, please become a premium member at lotuseaters.com.